Everybody, this is Denny, the aim for ivyleague.com. Yeah, making my first video since the official launch of the new site. Very excited about the content so far, and even more excited about what's going to come in the future. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This video is a session that I played on Stars, I think about 2.5 weeks ago. It's 200 limit zoom. And yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to start with a pre-recorded session on the new Ivy League site so that I could pause and go over some things a little bit more thoroughly. Because I'm assuming there's a mixed audience of both players that have watched my videos before and then also some new people that haven't watched my videos before. Hello, new people, by the way. So yeah, I'll be going. Well, in a pre-recorded session, it's a little bit more easy when I can pause and go over some spots a little bit more thoroughly. Um, and yeah, and also during this video, I'll be explaining a little bit about my playstyle in general, which you'll find is very aggressive and basically, I think one of the main differences between my playstyle and a lot of other players is that I actually make it very clear that I take advantage of weaker players at the table if it's possible. So, because I do think that some players play against weaker players like they're playing against regulars, and they try to balance and make game theoretically unexploitable plays and everything. But against weaker players, I think it's better to play exploitable and I can't even say unbalanced because they're not going to be able to exploit you anyways, because otherwise they would not be weaker players. So yeah, yeah. With that being said, I'm gonna jump right into the video. So the top left table is what I'm gonna call table 1, and then this is table 2, 3, and then the bottom right table is table 4. So right off the bat, you see me isolation raising 3 for suited from the small blind on table 3. The reason I do this is that the player that limped is not full stacked, and he also limped, so it's likely a weaker player. And the guy in the big blind has not a full stack either, and has this sort of like tablet or whatever icon in his thing. So I'm assuming he's either playing one table or well, I'm just assuming that these two are weaker players, and because of that, I think 3 for suited is a pretty nice hand to raise here with instead of either folding or calling. And I'm expecting to either take the pot down right away or that they're gonna fold somewhere post flop. And yeah, this is exactly the spot where I was talking about. There's weaker players. I'm assuming I'm a much stronger player than they are, and even a hand as 3 for suited is, in my opinion, good enough here to make a play with and see what happens either pre-flop or post-flop. I also see that I pulled in another hand that I played in this respect, probably a couple hands before the session started. So this 95 profit, I believe, is the weaker player in this hand, although it also could be Ferrer, I can't remember anymore. But given that I opened from the cutoff, 9-10 offsuit, which I would generally fold unless there's a weaker player behind me that I want to play a pot against. I'm assuming it's 95 profit, and this is how I'll analyze the hand from that point forward. So I open raise, I got a small free bet and a cold call from the big blind. I make a fairly loose defend pre-flop, but I think given the small free bet and there's a weaker player in the pot that cold called the free bet, I think it's a good spot to call and see flop and see what happens. I also have good relative position on the weaker player, which means that 95 profit is going to check, I'm going to check, and then the initial 3-better, the aggressor, can c-bet, and then I can see what 95% profit does before it's my turn. So I get to see what every player does before I get to act on the flop. So, good relative position, and yeah, so that's why I call pre-flop. On the flop, I don't think there's anything else to do for me than to check it. I flop middle pair. Good flop for me since the button is an aggressive 3-better. So Mm, Aggressive three better is likely gonna barrel a king high board because he expects me to four bet ace king preflop. He probably expects everyone to four bet ace king preflop, so he thinks that the only player that is capable of having ace king in this hand is himself, which may be true, but that doesn't mean that I have to fold my 9-10 because he can have ace king, but if he's an aggressive three better, he can also have like 7-8 suited, 6-8 suited, 10-8 suited, queen 10, jack, all those type of hands, gut shots, flush draws on his board. Even like ace queen still hasn't beat my hand on this board. So there's lots and lots of hands that he's going to be free betting with, but do actually not have anything yet on his board. So I think the only play for me is to check call on the flop. It's good for me that 95% profit folds. So because he might have had jacks or tens if he called. So him folding is good for me, and I'm heads up to the turn, which is a total brick. Good card for me. He bets again. I'm still expecting him to barrel the hands that I talked about, like even like bluff hands like 6-8 suited, but also ace high type of hands like ace queen, and also things like maybe like queen 10 everything. River is good for me as well. Doesn't change